by arcane energies, Drokgul became akin to a spirit of nature himself. Welcome to Raid Story Legends with me, LeilaFox. Hi there, welcome to Raid Story Legends. I am LeilaFox. This is a weekly YouTube series where I share lore from some of our favorite champs in Raid Shadow Legends. Now, continuing on with Raid's 2nd anniversary, I thought it was fitting to share the story for Drokgul the Gaunt. Drokgul is a legendary Ogryn champ who also happens to be available in fragments during the 2nd anniversary. Here is the story, and I hope you enjoy. Long before the first humans set foot on the vast tundras of Telerian North, it was an untamed land of spirits and mysteries. Troll folk dwelled amid the craggy mountains and grassy hills, their rule unchallenged for many centuries. For most of them, it was a simple existence, unburdened by the calamities of change or naive dreams of progress. But even among such simple creatures, a spark of genius can be found. Drokgul had seen much strife in his youth, for his temperamental nature led him to fight his kindred over hunting grounds, spoils, even minor insults. No clan, no matter how small or desperate, would accept him, and his rivals soon banded together to defend themselves. So it came to pass that Drokgul was driven from his home and forced into exile. For many winters, he roved alone, resentful and full of anger. Yet in this solitude, Drokgul had time enough to brood over his fate as he scraped a living in the northmost wastelands where the chilly breath of winter was his constant companion. All his grief and hardship were the result of his own failings, no one else's. Struck by this truth, Drokgul vowed to find enlightenment and break free from the vicious cycle of violence he had created. So began his long path to wisdom. Many roads did Drokgul travel. He went as far as the Arctic wastes of Teleria, where he learned as much as one could of Jotuns and their rune scriptures. Then to the south, where he first encountered the primitive humans and studied their customs. It was far past a century before Drokgul returned home, a wizened and weary elder. He made his dwelling on a tall rocky hill, where he practiced what magic he learned from the northern giants and sought unity with nature. His very skin turned to rock in time, and his life lasted far beyond even that of a troll. Empowered by arcane energies, Drokgul became akin to a spirit of nature himself, tending to his domain and bringing his wrath on those who would threaten it. Then the humans came. These were simple folk, blood-bound clans that fled northwards from some untamed terror. To them, the ancient and powerful creature was like a god, a misunderstanding that amused Drokgul greatly. Yet he struck a pact with the barbarians, letting them settle the valley near his home in exchange for sacrifices of game and cattle. Over generations, Drokgul remained a mythical guardian whose knowledge of runes and magic inspired many young shamans and led the clans living under his protection to prosperity. But alas, evil does not rest. When the tainted servants of Siroth swept across the land, not even Drokgul's strength was enough to defend his human allies. Many were slaughtered, others were forced to flee, and the noble troll found himself wounded and enraged at such iniquity. It was then he swore another oath, to find vengeance for those he could not protect. One final time, the Drokgul set out from ravaged homeland, his gaze turned to the south. Where he walks now, few can say, but any enemy of Siroth would be blessed to recruit this venerable champion's strength to their cause. This is the story for Drokgul the Gaunt, and what I think I really like about this is, when we look at the Ogryn faction as a whole, they seem kind of almost like mindless brutes. And I like how this story takes a Drokgul where he leaves his land, he realizes what he did, and he seeks to better himself. Not only does he seek to better himself, he seeks to find a new land, and he ends up creating unity with humans. Which a lot of times in these factions, when we're hearing these stories, there isn't usually a lot of intertwining between factions, especially ones that are so drastic, an Ogryn and a human. And sadly, at the end of this story, his friends, or those that he had collaborated with, they die. They die in very sad ways. And it's this that pushes him to move forward and learn more magic, and also makes him someone that's worthy to want to fight in Teleria's cause. They don't necessarily talk about the Arbiter in here, but I could see that as possibly be a reason for how Arbiter finally eventually finds Drokgul, has him enter a shard, and then he becomes available to us as a champion to play in Raid. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing, leaving me a comment, and hitting the like button. All of that helps the channel to grow, and it helps others to see the story for Drokgul. I would love to know, what do you think? Is this the kind of story you would have thought for Drokgul initially when you had seen him? Were you thinking very similar to me, where a lot of the Ogryns seem very just brutish and that they're almost brainless, but yet we have this story of Drokgul who isn't. He's very intelligent, he's a shaman, he's very smart, and they even say so much as humans thought he was godlike, and he was amused by this. I would love to know what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to sharing my next Raid Story Legends with you.